very quickly introduce myself since I am not the draw for this evening. My name is Heather Hope Curuvilla. I am the Associate Director of Admissions. I'm joined tonight by my colleague Eric. Do you want to introduce yourself, Eric?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Eric Niskern. I'm the Executive Director of Recruitment and Enrollment Initiatives. I'm happy to be here tonight to introduce you to some of our amazing students and hopefully answer a lot of your questions.
Okay, so we are joined tonight by four of our first generation law students here at Delaware Law School. This really is an Ask Me Anything kind of event. You can ask questions by going off mute, or you can type into the chat, and Eric and I will manage the chat for them. The idea here really is if you have the question about law school, definitely at least one other person has that question as well. It's a new experience or has been a new experience for everyone here. So I'm going to hand it over to all of you now. I do have questions prepared if we need to ease you in, but I don't think we will. I know we've got a great class coming in this fall. So I'm going to stop talking, and if someone wants to ask a question, go right ahead.
Or maybe we should have our students introduce themselves
Oh, yes.
first before I ask the
I'm
question.
sorry. We
That's
talked
okay.
about that too. Okay, so I'm going to ask, starting with Alexandra, with Alex, if you could introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Alexandra. I am a 3L evening division student. And I am originally from Michigan. So good old lower UP in the mitten, if you've seen it. Kalamazoo, Michigan is where I'm from. And I went to school undergraduate at the University of Pennsylvania and triple majored actually in political science, Middle Eastern studies, and criminology before going over and doing my master's degree in international relations and security studies. And then I had pretty much another career in research with Google before coming to law school. So here at my kind of two main activities are the First Gen Law Student Association. So I'm the president of that group. Really hope to sort of welcome you guys all to campus next week, provide a friendly face, and we can give you guys some more information about our group a little bit later. And I'm also on the law review at school. Um, and then we just want to share like one thing that helped us be successful or that I wish I knew before law school. And I think the biggest tip that I would say is to be open-minded. I sort of came in thinking I knew what I wanted to do. And at first, I think that sort of shut me off to doing like certain classes or keeping an open mind towards those classes. But I really wish that I wouldn't have because like something like property on my first day, I was like, I'm gonna hate this. I just want to do it to get it over with. But it actually ended up being one of my favorite topics in law school. So just keeping an open mind is so important coming into 1L. On to the next person.
How about it looks like Corbin? Do you want to go next?
Yeah, I'll go next. Hi, everyone. My name's Corbin. I'm originally from South Carolina. And for undergrad, I went to the University of South Carolina, majored in English literature. And then I guess for activities here, I'm definitely, involved with the First Generation Law Student Association. And a piece of advice that I would say I wish I knew before going to law school is you'll probably hear it a lot, but definitely go to office hours. It's a great way to get to know your professor, and just learn more about the course, and just hit those points you're not really understanding in class.
All right. How about Alicia next?
Hi, everyone. My name is Alicia Rodriguez. I am an incoming 3L Evening Division student, along with Alex. Um, I am here from the Wilmington area, so I grew up right here in Delaware. My undergrad, I graduated in business administration. I, like Alex, had an entire career before law school doing something completely unrelated. Not only am I a first gen law student, but I'm also the first person in my family to graduate college. So this has been a very interesting journey trying to navigate and just understand the process. So all of our emails are, just like your guys, it's our name. So, at any point, if you see me on campus or you want to shoot me an email, I like to be in as many groups as I can. So you don't have to go to every single event to be in a group. All of the student organizations are super wonderful. So even if you can just go to one, this year, I am the evening division student bar association rep for all of our extended division students. I am also the extended division representative for first gen. Last year, I served on the LALSA board, but we have lots of great other organizations. We have the Black Law Student Association that I love. They have awesome events. 8%, I love 8%, Women's Law Caucus, Transactional Law Honor Society. I know it's going to be a lot of information that you get tonight, but definitely I would say come to table day. You'll be able to meet everyone. And I would say my biggest piece of event advice for every student is really be true to yourself. When you come to law school, you're going to see a lot of amazing people, and they're all going to be doing different things. And you may feel pressure to like I have to study in a certain way, and that way may not work for you. And my example would be like note cards. My two study buddies, my besties, they love note cards, and I was trying to get myself to use note cards, and they just simply don't work for me. And I was getting frustrated and just wasn't working. So, just don't be worried about what everyone else is doing. Do what is true to you, do what got you here. And like Corbin said, don't be afraid to ask for help.
Thank you. And last but not least is Anthony.
Hi everyone, my name is Anthony. I'm from Abington, Pennsylvania. I graduated from Manor College with my criminal justice degree, my associate's degree, and I went to Bernathen College and did pre-law. That's my bachelor's degree, and I am the public information officer for the First Generation Law Student Association. My biggest piece of advice for how to succeed in law school is to create a study schedule and stick by it, and definitely emphasize learning how to outline. Outlining is going to be a very major part of how you get to succeed in law school. So,
Okay, thank you to all of you. And before we open up questions on the floor, we do have one that came through the chat already from Angelique asking, when you started struggling with classes, what course of action did you take? So who feels like they have a great response to that?
I can jump in. I think the first thing is that you do is you step back and you take a breath. This is a marathon, it's not a sprint. And I promise you that at some point, everyone has that feeling where it like everything is sort of piling up. You've got like 500 pages of reading a week, and you're like, am I meant to be here? And so just like stop, pull back a second, remind yourself how you got here, and like have some grace with yourself, because nobody comes to law school because they know the law all the way. That's the whole point of school, right? So we're here to learn. Um, and then I think Corbin's advice was great. Go to office hours, use the people and tools that you've been given. Our professors, they love teaching and they love helping their students. That's their job. So always go to their office hours. If your class has a TA, speak with them. Those are usually other students. So they understand what you're going through and went through the same class, the same course, the same, like everything with that professor usually. So if there's something that you're maybe not understanding, then they can maybe teach it to you in a different way that helps it click. So definitely reach out to the resources that you've been given. And I think that that's like a really good place to start. And then, like Alicia mentioned, some people will have a study group. If that works for you, if that's something that you are interested in, then I would definitely suggest to sort of lay those seeds a little bit early, because like midterms will come up and all of a sudden you're like, what do I do? How do I study? And I think even just being around some other students and seeing how they study, I personally thought I knew how I needed to study. And then I got with my study group, and we're all so different that we all have different ways of studying, and you learn from your other students just as much as you learn from your professors in law school. So highly suggest doing that as well.
I agree with everything she said. Also, if you do feel yourself, starting to struggle with a subject or anything like that, just make sure you don't wait. because the more you wait, things start to compound, and then next thing you know, you're behind on 3 weeks worth of reading. So you just don't want to be in that situation. And then your professors will always be there to help you, but they'll be way more receptive if it's not 3 weeks before the final, and you're coming to them saying like, "Hey, remember the third lecture? I'm not understanding the material." So just stay proactive and just stay on top of it.
Okay, thank you. Did anyone else have an answer to that one? Okay. Our next question is from Anna, and this is specifically for our evening division students, asking how do summer internships work? What are the best ways to get involved while balancing school, work, and organizations?
I guess I'll go first. So, I believe Alex, you're going to be there. So I will be at orientation, as well for the EDs, any of the EDs who are on. So, we can always talk more. I am a big cold emailer. So I try to go to as many networking events, and I am definitely not a shy person, and I like to make connections. So, I actually was very, very lucky. And you're going to hear a lot of people kind of either fall into an internship or they fall into a postgraduate position. A lot of times it's not this like I linear, I applied and whatever. Sometimes it's just from making connections and having conversations with people. And you never know until you ask. So my 1L summer, everyone talks about you have to clerk for a judge, you have to clerk for a judge. So I kind of like had that on my vision board that I was going to clerk for a judge. And just side note, I had no idea what clerking for a judge even meant, but I just knew that I had to do it. So I actually ended up connecting with a judge. Her name is Megan Sullivan, and she was an evening division student. And in connecting with her, she is a Superior Court judge in the state of Pennsylvania. She ended up making a part-time position for me that just didn't exist. And we just kind of vibed and I would really, really urge all of the part-time students, as much as you can, there's going to be events that you're just not going to be able to go to. And I'm not going to sugarcoat that. There's going to be a lot of decisions and a lot of sacrifices you have to make, but you will receive emails. You will have people's contact information and you need to kind of reach out. You never know what can be there. And I will put in my first plug to my girl, Dean McDonald. She is absolutely amazing and advocates for the evening division students. And there will be a lot of programs and there's going to be a lot of information that will be directed 100% towards evening division students. So just be on the lookout for that.
And to add to that, because I have the exact like opposite personality of Alicia, like the idea of cold calling or cold emailing someone is like I would prefer not to. So for me, I think the biggest thing for me has been just be creative. So whether it be reaching out to a judge and saying like, hey, can you help me do something part-time? Or if there is someone that you meet along the way who can help you maybe one day a week that you can go into the office, or they can find some remote opportunities for you. For me, the idea of doing a summer internship was just, it wasn't in the picture for me. I have a full-time job. I work 8 to 5. Like there's no way to fit in a physical, like going to an office and doing an internship. So for me, my summer opportunities, they've had to look a little different. And mostly that has been like doing research opportunities with my professors, or like this summer, I've been helping one of our professors write a textbook. And it's just so reaching out to the people that you meet along the way and sort of seeing they understand like what you're going through, especially like our evening division professors, they love the evening division students and like sort of are like, oh my gosh, you're amazing for going to work and then coming to school. So they get it and they want to help you find those opportunities. So all of the opportunities that I've had so far have come through our professors. So definitely just start like reaching out to your professors, making those connections early, and sort of just being creative about looking around the school for other opportunities that might not be the traditional, like 8 to 5 in an office, 5 days a week internship.
I do want to say a plug too. I know Alicia mentioned Dean McDonald. Whether you're coming in as full-time or part-time, I highly recommend reaching out to her office because she's incredibly dynamic, has lots of great opportunities for students. Some of you may have actually attended the session we did earlier in the summer with her, where she gave incoming students the opportunity to submit a resume to her now that she could help with formatting and getting it ready for your first year. So I think we're very fortunate to have her and her staff here for our students. So again, whether you're coming in as full-time or part-time, I think you should become a frequent visitor to Dean McDonald's office.
Okay, so I'm going to read the next question, but I also just want to encourage all of you. You can raise your hand or use the raised hand icon if you just want to go off mic. You don't have to type questions into the chat. But the next question we have from Matt, I think along the same lines, but I think we might get some slightly different answers from the two of you. What are the biggest difficulties with being an evening student, and how did you navigate those challenges?
You want to go first, Alex?
Sure. Um, I think inevitably the biggest difficulty is time, right? Like we all come from work after 5 o'clock. We get to campus, it's maybe 5:45. You maybe get a chance to eat, and then you're straight into classes for 4 hours. It's a grind. It is such a commitment. We're going through it with you, and I completely commend all of you who are doing it. Um, but inevitably that means that you have less time. So again, get creative, but in a different way, maybe. So, like for me and Alicia, that has meant we study on Saturday mornings and we come to the school, and it's pretty much a dedicated, like every week thing. So sort of like Anthony had mentioned, like figure out a study schedule and stick to it. Nobody wants to spend their Saturday morning at our school, but we do it because that's when we have to study. And you get creative because a lot of us have families on the side. We have like all kinds of other things. And I'm thinking of like one time in particular, we were like, we need to study all day, but our families, they haven't seen us in like 2 weeks. So what do? We buy pizza and the family comes to school and we show the kids around the school, walk them into the courtroom. Like they think it's amazing. It's like a jungle gym, but at the same time, we get to still do our studying but also see our families. So you find those like-minded people, and they sort of become your like troop throughout, and like really like Alicia's family is my family, and we just see each other in creative ways and have made it work in creative ways. So I think that is really important.
I would agree. And I think this is gonna kind of touch to all first gen students, whether you're part-time or full-time. Unless someone has gone to law school, they are not going to understand your journey. They are not going to understand the commitment level that it's going to require. Um, they're going to say, why are you always reading? Why are you always studying? And I think the biggest kind of adaptation, like Alex said, when you're on and you're in school, you have to be in school. So if you have a break, if you're on winter break, if there's a little bit of a break, I would definitely encourage you to use those breaks to be with your family, to be with your friends, to be with your significant other, and definitely use that time because like my family knows it's like T minus like so many days until we go dark again. And then like they kind of know like all right, the semester started Saturday and Sunday, especially for evening division students. For me, I didn't mention it, but I'm also a parent. So I do have two teenagers. My son is going to be 18 this month, and my daughter is 15. So it is a lot of things to manage, but keeping a schedule and knowing when you do certain things, and especially towards final season, I just kind of we kind of make it that way. I force myself. I have to go to school. I don't want to live in the library and in the lounge, but sometimes I have to do what we have to do. But then once you're on break, then you go and you do all the fun things that you want to do. So I would definitely encourage all of you. You have like a week-ish left. So I don't know, whatever it is you want to go out, you want to go to dinner, do all those things now because it's about to get real.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have a question they want to come off mic for?
I did have a question.
Great.
Sorry. Thank you first off for coming to speak to all of us. It's really great information you guys are sharing. I was just thinking, was there anything, I guess, during your acclimation to law school, was there anything that you didn't expect or anything that surprised you? You know, a lot of people talk about like the cold calling or the difference between work between undergrad and then, of course, law school because it's graduate school. But was there anything that you guys were shocked about or maybe you underestimated when it came to law school?
I think we should let Corbin and Anthony take a stab at it. They haven't had a chance to speak in a while.
Yeah, I'll go first on this one. I think one thing that kind of like just surprised me the most was just obviously, being a law student, you're probably all very bright people, but from day one, you realize very quickly you're in a room full of like some of the smartest people you've ever met in your life. And like sometimes if you're used to feeling like, oh, I'm capable of something like that, you would meet people who have like, master's degrees, PhDs, who have backgrounds, all types of professional backgrounds. So that definitely can like, make you feel a little weird sometimes, maybe out of place a little bit, but you'll quickly realize, you'll get used to it. We're all taking the same exams, we're all learning the same material, so it's not as bad as, it might seem at first.
Absolutely agree with Corbin. That's a really great point. I would say too, like the cold calling factor of it as well is definitely a classroom adjustment because I did not take a gap year. I went from right from undergrad right to law school, and it was a completely different classroom dynamic. But aside from the cold calling, like Corbin was talking about, the conversations that you're going to have with your professor, the conversations that, the hypotheticals that are raised by your classmates are lead to such amazing conversations that you really don't will never have a grasp of until you're actually in it. And I love that factor of it at 100%.
I'm just gonna add something because I remember one of the things that shocked me the most, and then I was like, what is this? Is a law school textbook, to be honest. Like obviously you have textbooks in undergrad, but a law school textbook is just entirely different. I don't know if you've got them yet or cracked them open if you do, but they don't give you answers, and that's on purpose. It like the whole point of law school is to sort of like wrangle with the case and figure out what they're saying and why they're saying it, and it'll ask you a question at the end and it just you won't get the answer. Like the book will not ever say like go to the end of the chapter and here's the answer. Like you don't have that answer, and that can be so annoying. And but it's for a reason, right? Like you're really meant to like grapple with it and then go talk with your classmates and your professors about it. Hopefully your professors will discuss it, but if not, like that's an office hours topic right there. Um, but yeah, that was one of the most shocking things to me. It was just like how frustrated I would get with a law school textbook, like giving no answers. It's just like endless words.
I think I'll add just one quick thing. I think for me, and I actually specifically remember coming in my 1L year and asking Eric because Eric also holds a JD. And you're a Widener alum, Eric?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. And you were telling me about the way that law school changes your thinking and people talk about reading comprehension. I will tell you, I am only starting to notice it in myself now. You really learn the value of a word. Um, One word, you start looking for it. Does this say may? Does it say must? Does it say and? Does it say or? When you're an undergrad, you're kind of like reading and you're skimming and you're doing all these things and you don't pay attention to a single word. And in law school, one word makes the difference. And that to me was just, it's very jarring about how precise you have to be.
I will tell you too, because I said this to Alicia, that once you kind of get that skill, you do become super annoying to all the people around you because you are so focused on every word that they say that they don't want to talk to you because you're not listening to the gist, you're listening to, oh, you said and, not or. That's a completely different thing. You will also become impossible to win an argument against, which makes you even more annoying. So just be prepared for that too.
I remember on the first day of class, one of our professors told us, "You'll never be the fun person at the party anymore." And I was like, no, like that can't be true. And no, it very much is true because you'll like they'll tell stories and they're like, oh, that person assaulted me. And you're like, actually, that was not assault, that was battery. Like you're no longer the fun person anymore because you've learned all of these like technicalities of the law. So yeah, it definitely does change the way you think.
You're gonna go to fireworks or you're gonna see like go to celebrations, you'll see liability issues everywhere, like where it's amusement parks or water, like it's definitely gonna change your way of thinking, 100%.
Thank you for that. That brought back so many memories for me of when I was in law school. So I'm just sitting here giggling. But everything they said was really fantastic. Before I go back to the chat, did anyone else have a question they wanted to hop off mute and ask?
Yeah, I had a
Yeah.
question. So thank you all for being here. I appreciate you taking your time. And one of my questions is about like knowing what to study, I guess. And so when I was like going through the orientation materials, like I came across like the restatement of torts and like the black letter law versus the restatement of the law, and I don't really fully understand that yet. But I guess I'm wondering if like the professors really kind of tell you, you know, this is the black letter law that you have to memorize, and then this is maybe fluff or something like that. Like if they're kind of clear about what you need to know.
Who wants to break it to Matthew? He thinks he's going to get answers from his faculty. Who wants to tell him?
I would say, and I think maybe Anthony was talking about outlines. I would definitely say follow your professor's syllabus. Your professor's syllabus is going to have outlined, right? It's gonna have there those major topics, and a lot of the student organizations within the beginning of the semester are going to have outlining workshops. So definitely be on the lookout for those. Just remember, most cases, unless it's like a landmark case, which your professor will tell you, the facts of the case are not what you want to really hone into. You want to understand the bigger concepts of the law. But unfortunately, there are going to be times that you're going to need to know both, and you're going to need to have to be prepared to argue both sides. And I would say again, back to Corbin, don't be afraid to use those office hours. I will tell you when I was taking Civ Pro, I was even called out by the professor in class that there's one student who comes to office hours every single week. That was me because it just wasn't clicking in my brain for me. So don't be surprised if you're a month into school and you're like, no, I still don't get it. You may not. And I think as well, I'm gonna give a nod to Eric as well. I think Eric told me like there's gonna be a while that it's just gonna be kind of all in there and all mush. And at some point it will click. But if it doesn't click in the first month, it's okay. And it may not. It just may not.
I would also say that there's a lot, you're saying a lot, right? Like restatements, black letter law, and it can feel so overwhelming. So even though there's so much value in making your own outlines, that's really where the value comes from. Don't be afraid to see if you're on track by checking out someone else's or like checking out like a Barbary or Themis thing, because like you're right, the law is a rabbit hole and you're going to see like this case like cites to these cases and cites to the restatement of torts and whatever, and it's gonna like you're gonna feel like, oh, I already have 300 pages of reading, does that mean I have to read this book as well? And like, no, you don't, but stay curious. If you don't know like a word or something, use Black's Law Dictionary. I told Alicia I have a running document from the first day of class where any word or definition that I was unfamiliar with, I would write down, go to Black's Law Dictionary. It's a bookmark that I have still on my computer, and just write down that definition. And I just keep a running document of those things that I can refer back to throughout the class. As far as like restatements and stuff, like your professors, that is like what they're there for, is to tell you like, do I need to know the restatement definition? Like that's something that you want to ask them. They won't be forthcoming if you don't ask. So again, stay curious and ask what you need to know ahead of time, so it doesn't come to the end of the semester and they're like, oh yeah, you need to know word for word the restatement of torts. and you're like, wait, what? I've just been taking normal notes. So expect to be flexible with your notes and how you study, but sort of make sure you're gathering that information from your professors early as to what they expect.
I'd also add to that, if you can, see if you can find some of your professors' old final exams, and you can use those to kind of like gauge, what I'm supposed to know for the final. They're really helpful.
Okay, thank you for that. And I want to call out something that Alex said about being intellectually curious. That will serve you so well in law school. So definitely, I wanted to highlight that. Going back to the chat, and Katie, thank you for your patience. I know you asked this about 20 minutes ago. As first gen, did you ever feel that you were behind in your studies and other opportunities compared to peers who have family members who have that legal background who are attorneys?
All the time. One thing you'll learn very quickly in law school, people like to be very open about, the opportunities they're doing, how great they're doing and all their successes. Sometimes you just got to tune people out and just run your race. I mean, it's like she said, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And I mean, if you just listen to everybody else's chatter, you'll get so distracted. And I'll be honest, some people just aren't being honest. Like some people will lie, they'll lie and say, they're doing way better than they are, or they have so many opportunities that's not necessarily true. So you kind of just take it all with a grain of salt and just focus on, doing the best you can in your classes.
I 100%. And I think sort of what Alicia said earlier is so important to stay true to who you are, right? Because what Corbin is saying is 100% accurate. And imposter syndrome is going to come up so hard for especially the first couple weeks. And but it just like keeps going. And every time it comes around to like jobs or something, you're going to be like, oh, I already feel behind. And lean on your resources at school, whether that be like the first gen student organization, who like that's what we're there for, is to help first gen students. We're all going through it together, so we can help you out. Lean on your mentors. If they haven't sent it to you guys yet, you'll each get like another student mentor from an upperclassman who you can always reach out to. Lean on Dean McDonald, lean on your professors. Just you're absolutely going to feel behind. And like there have been times when I'm like, I don't even know if this is appropriate to wear. And that's like one of those questions that you're like, I should be thinking about what my interview answers should be or something, but I'm still like all the way back here of like, how do I even like appear here? So definitely just like find your people, find your group. First gen groups, just like reach out to us. Like when I have any of these questions, I will reach straight out to some of my fellow students and just be like, hey, what do you think of this? What do you think I should do? So definitely, even if you're an introvert, find your people. Like it doesn't have to be a whole group, whatever. Even if you just find that one person, they're going to be your friend for life, probably. So just find them and lean on them.
Anthony or Corbin, anything to add?
I definitely agree with you saying. Find a support system, lean on it, and just really realize that what you're doing is great in magnitude. It's not easy. So just tune out everything that's not really helping you focus on that goal and just focus on getting the job done.
Exactly. It's going to be easy to compare, but focus on what you need to do. And that just a single path. That's all you have to like think of. It's a single path of what you need to get done. If you do like a weekly planner and just be like, end of the week, this is what you need to get done. It'll flow a little bit easier if you have a planner, like some sort of schedule set up. It'll flow.
Okay, thank you. And I'll also just call out that the mention for the upper level student mentors, that information will be available to you at orientation. So be on the lookout for that. Make sure you complete that and return it by the deadline. The next question is from Angelique asking about Greek life on campus. I'm not sure if any of you are involved with PAD. But hopefully with Angelique's permission and grace, I'll just expand that out to how do you get involved with student organizations on campus? How do you get involved with the community in that way?
So I don't know if it's in orientation, but August 26th is table day. So that would be the best day. All of the organizations, there's also going to be, I know, several bar associations. I think we have New York, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, New Jersey. All of the organizations that we have on campus are going to be in Main Street, which is that main kind of big hallway in Main Law. And we will be there, Alex, is it like 9? That starts at 9 a.m. And then for the evening students, the tables will be there until around 6:30, right before classes start. Go to every single table, write your email on the list, talk to the students. Even if it's something you're like, I don't know if I really want to do it, get on their email list. And then the other big thing that we haven't kind of mentioned yet is social media. So all of the orgs have social media. They use Instagram. And a lot of times you'll see what they're doing. And when you get on those email lists, you'll be able to start to get the communications. And I would say go to a general body meeting, go to an event, just check it out. Don't be afraid. To kind of get yourself out there.
First Generation Law Student Association Instagram. It's really great, by the way. We're building it up. It's really good. We're posting a lot, so it's good. Yeah, come. I'll drop the title of it, the username of it in the chat. Give us a follow. Right, we're here for you.
Okay. Does anyone have a question they want to come off of mute to ask?
Yes, I have a question here.
Yeah.
Again, thank you everybody for sharing all your insights. But just kind of thinking about not knowing what you don't know, in what ways as a 1L would you kind of compare your understanding to the material so that you would know whether or not you're understanding it correctly? Because it may be, to yourself, you feel like you're getting it, but are there resources you would recommend we use to compare our own notes to or test ourselves alongside the material?
I might jump in real quick. Glennon book. In the library, there's like study aids. I like to actually see like a physical copy of it, like Glennon. Like there's all these like kind of test materials where you can really test your knowledge. There's multiple choice questions. I know the property law one for Glennon was really good. I'm sure they all were good, but the one for property was really great. That's how I tested my knowledge to see where I was at with the material. Yeah, I would do those. And yeah, that's definitely the study aids in the library. Please go there.
I agree, definitely study aids, but also if you want to do like practice, I'm sorry, practice essay questions on the final, like you'll see on the final, that'll definitely help it a lot. And it also will help you be able to, write out the law because that's a big part of it. Some of the questions will be multiple choice, but for some of the questions you'll have to like, give like, I don't know for IRAC, but like the issue, rule, application, conclusion. So it'll help you with your rule synthesis, which will in turn really help you score higher on the final.
Off of what Anthony said, sorry, Alicia,
No, you go.
this is just going to be a quick thing. So we have free access to all of the like study guide type things online through our library. And I don't think a lot of people know that. If you go to like the Delaware Law Library website, there's something on there that says like study materials, study guides, something like that. And we have access to just a plethora of different materials, some of which are actually keyed directly to your 1L textbooks. So you'll hear a lot of people say use like Quimby. It's like an online resource that will give you like quick case briefs and give you facts like the rule of law, everything that you should know. But there are often like cases that you might do in multiple classes or that your professor might want you to know something a little bit different. So it's not always going to be directly like what you're supposed to be getting. So we have this resource that has study materials that are specifically like companion guides to your textbooks. And that is free through our library. So definitely check that out. I would also say these books, if you look behind me, I have literally this textbook. It's called Examples and Explanations. I have one for every single core class that we have taken. and you can get them like a used copy for like $5. So I know that saving money is a huge thing. I just saw that come in the chat too. Like textbooks are stupid expensive, so don't spend money where you don't have to. Get a used copy of these things, and it is so helpful when you're like, I have 100 pages of outlines. What do I actually need to like hone in on and practice? These books, I love them because they have example questions. So if you can't find like an exam, a practice exam from your professors, or they're not offering them, this is a great place to go and like sort of check your knowledge, because they're written like law school questions would be, and they provide questions that you might not otherwise get to check out.
I was just going to add, I think a big difference in law school versus undergrad, there's not, when you say check your understanding, a lot of times with an essay, and kind of like Alex had mentioned earlier, it's not always black and white, and it's not always this is the right answer. So sometimes your understanding could be different than somebody else's understanding, and that doesn't mean that it's wrong. So a lot of times when you're having final exams, you and your classmate can have two completely different arguments, and you can both do really well in the exam, and you argue two completely different theories or different, points of the law. So don't get bogged down, and you have to have like this like solidified answer, and it's going to be frustrating, but there's a lot of gray, and it's not it's going to be a different way of processing the information and navigating through it.
Well, thank you.
Okay, so we have a question here from Matt. Do you have any recommendations on resources for learning to outline?
So at orientation, they'll do like a little like tidbit outlining thing. And then like a few of us have mentioned, student organizations towards the beginning of the year, we love to do outline courses and sort of show you our outlines, show you how to do them, sort of what you should be pulling out. So definitely look for those. Sort of emails coming out from SBA and from who you sign up at Table Day to do those or like outline meetings. And then also, most of our organizations have an outline bank that they keep of upperclassmen who have taken your professor. Because the other thing that hasn't really been mentioned is that the property class that I take with one professor might be completely different than the property class that you take with another professor. So, yes, you're going to learn the same law, but they might be teaching it in a different way, want you to speak about it in a different way. So, if I look at your property outline for a different professor, it might just like honestly end up being mostly useless for me taking it with a different professor. So if you look through these outline banks that all of the student orgs have, you can go look for other students who took your professor, which is a really good resource to sort of look at and see how they do it, sort of the flow of it. But as I sort of mentioned earlier, doing it yourself is so important, because it has to be unique in how you learn, right? Because I can read someone else's outline and I'm just reading words. It's not going to help me. It's really creating it, linking the law together that you're learning throughout the semester that is really what makes it stick with you. So definitely don't put aside making your own, and don't be afraid to just sort of like change it as you go. A lot of professors will say like you should be outlining from week 2. And if you're not comfortable doing that yet, then don't. Like, you know what works best for you. I personally don't start until around like midterm season, because I don't know how these building blocks go together yet. And especially 1L, when I was like, I I think that I'm doing enough by showing up and having read the stuff. Like, I was so overwhelmed, and having to add another thing on top of it was just like, I can't do that right now. So I don't think there's anything wrong with knowing yourself and waiting if that is what's going to work best for you. Because again, law school, you have a lot of stuff to do. So time management is so key. And for me, there was no use in like starting early if I knew I was just going to have to go back and fix it all. So just again, take in all of your resources that you can.
I'd put in a note of caution with outlines. and this is my personal opinion, so you take it as you will, but an outline is to help you study for the final exam, and it is a huge amount of information. But there are some folks who have an outline that's 40, 50, 60 pages. That is not, it shouldn't be an outline. It's not like just all of your notes together. It really needs to be a document depending on the class, because some of the classes are pretty big, anywhere from 2 to maybe 4 pages at the max. When you're really trying to, condense it down and be like, did I get everything, every single topic? Because studying from a document that's 40 plus pages, I don't know how that's really, if it's kind of as one of the other, I can't remember which one of the previous students, but there might be too much fluff and there's a little bit too much in there and you're going to stress yourself out. So that's just me.
Okay, and I think this is a good one to build right off of that. Siwa asked any advice on staying on top of their work, which I know we've touched on, but specifically if you're naturally not a super fast reader.
I would say definitely use your weekends. I know we don't have class on Friday, so Friday through Sunday, if you use that time to kind of like get ahead on the reading and then do like the bulk of the actual studying during the week, that can cut down on a lot of the time, used for it.
To
I would
Corbin's
also
point,
say
oh,
that
I'm
it
sorry.
becomes, oh, sorry, Anthony, you
No,
can,
no, no, you
my bad.
good. You go, you go,
Okay.
you go.
It gets easier over time. Like at first you're gonna see like I have 300 pages of reading and you like want to do every little bit of it because you're like, I actually don't know what I'm supposed to be taking out of this. And within a few weeks you'll start to hit a stride, right? Of like, oh, this is what my professor's talking about. This is what she wants. And that sort of will make it easier and you'll be able to still do the reading, but you know which parts you actually really have to hone in on. And soon it'll just like become almost second nature of like I know what I'm looking for in this topic. So I know at first it's going to be like, oh my gosh, this is insane, but over time it really does become like more second nature to know what you're looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. Alex and Corbin were right on the money on that. So you will find your stride. I always try to aim to be a week ahead, and that's where like Corbin taking the weekends is really great because you can even like maybe like have like one day to like Sunday is like your reset day, but the rest of the day like Saturday, Friday, use that day off on Friday to really push forward and try your best to even get like halfway through the week of terms of reading. But then after once when you get there, like right before class, I always like recommend like maybe like a 10-minute like review. Review your notes so you go in there really fresh and really understand what's today's topic. But the syllabus is going to help you with that. And like Alex was saying, you will find your stride, but it's going to take a little bit, but you'll find it.
I'm a big multitasker and being creative. So, I a lot of the textbooks I've switched, so I'm kind of a digital person now. Um if I'm doing chores around the house, if I'm doing laundry, if I'm, washing the dishes, I will have Themis videos up, Barbary videos up. I'll be listening to my textbook in the car. Another thing that I've done is I've recorded myself reading my notes and then I'll replay them back. I'm more of like an auditory person. But definitely, like Anthony said, like we have a schedule. Like once school starts, I do have a day, even as an evening division student. It will get smaller as we get closer to finals, but typically Friday is a day that I do nothing. So I don't do any school on Friday just so I can kind of decompress. And Friday night is like my night with my family. But Saturday morning, you have to stay on your schedule, because one week will really put you behind.
Okay, and switching gears, a question from Angelique. What goes into starting a new student organization group at Delaware Law?
You want me to take that, Alex? Or you got it?
I was just gonna say there's a whole like SBA process for it. You'll learn more like from the SBA as we get like started with orientation in school and stuff, but um they actually have like a whole guide that you have to follow. But I mean, at the base of it is finding a like-minded students who think that this is a missing component of our student org sort of culture at the school, and sort of like starting your own little like group who's gonna get your group going. We had actually a really successful student group start last year. They're a criminal justice based group, and it was really just a couple of students who felt that we didn't have a student organization that was really focused on criminal justice. They got together, created a board, and found the like support to create these different events for our students, and they've been very successful with doing so. So again, there is a way to do it, and there is like an actual like process you must follow, but at the base of it, it's finding other students to create a board and put some events together.
Yeah, exactly. In if you have Canvas or you're going to learn about Canvas under the you'll have all your little blocks for your classes, but there'll be a class for the student bar or a tab little for the Student Bar Association, and within there there'll be all sorts of documents and forms, and one is about a new student org. There is a brand new student org. I'm gonna mess up the name, Alex. Is it like if, when,
It's if,
how?
when, how.
If, when, how. So that's a brand new org that is starting this semester. So you'll see them. And we haven't mentioned him, but Damon is the SBA president. So you know definitely speak with SBA at table day, and like Alex said, just start talking to like-minded students.
You will all, in your orientation packets next week when you check in, there is a letter in there from Damon as the SBA president with, it's a pretty long letter with a lot of information about what SBA can do for you. And the mentor application is in the packet as well. So when you check in next week, you'll hear some information from him. And I'm sure at some point he'll be reaching out to first year students as well.
Yeah. Okay, so the last two questions in the chat I'm actually going to combine because I think they probably feed into each other. But we have any recommendations on how to save money on textbooks? And then also, do you recommend purchasing digital versus physical textbooks?
So I think with the digital versus the physical, a lot of times it comes down to preference. I do know there are some professors who don't allow any electronics in class, even an ebook. So before you do purchase an ebook, just check to make sure that that's not the requirement for that class. And in regards to saving money, the first thing I would do is like check online, see if you can find like a PDF file for it. I know for the property book we had last semester, there was a PDF file, so it was free for use. And then, just check with upperclassmen, 2Ls, 3Ls, see if they have any books for you or ones you can get. Check Facebook Marketplace. You might be able to find some for cheap. But I mean, if all those fail, you just have to go through the bookstore. But I would definitely say try that first. It definitely save a lot of money because they're very expensive.
I highly suggest reaching out to upperclassmen. Like personally, I have a ton of books that I like am just happy to share with people. Like Anthony, I literally like gave him my textbooks. So I they're just going to sit on our shelves usually. So we are happy to share them. Another thing that you can do, and that I usually do, is reach out to the professor to see like, is it absolutely critical that I have this brand new edition of the book? Or can I use the previous edition that's going to be like $300 cheaper and maybe has like one additional case? So definitely reach out to them. And once you get your syllabus, you can sort of like get an idea of like exactly how much reading are you going to have from it. If it's something like one of the more like practicing classes where you're going to be doing like interviewing stuff like that, the book might not be something that you have to use a lot. So all of the textbooks, they do have a course reserve in our library where every single textbook for every class there is a copy available to students. So you can just go into the front desk at the library and say, I would like to grab the book for X class, and you can take it out and go like use it for that day. So sometimes you might not actually need to get it.
Yeah, I would say Corbin is 100% right. I think that casebooks are uniquely personal. We have a classmate, he has to have a fresh, brand new book at the beginning of every semester. It's just his thing, and he wants to have all of his books. My 1L year, I actually rented a lot of books. So you can use Chegg or Velour. It is getting kind of later in the semester, so just know that obviously certain textbooks it is more difficult. If your professor is asking for a brand new book, again, like Alex said, figure it out. But renting books, if you're not someone who has to make your law library, could be another option based on what everybody else has said so far.
Okay, so we are coming up close to the end of our time, and I want to be respectful to everyone. So I'm just going to close us out with one final question for the four of you. Looking back, what is a piece of advice that you would tell to your first day of law school self, that first day of class? What is something you would tell that person from where you're at today?
I think I would definitely say it's not as bad as people make it out to be. You can do it. Just stay focused, stay motivated. It's a long ride, it's hard, it's not easy, but it's definitely doable. You just have to stay focused.
I would say something extremely similar, Corbin. Yes, it's a marathon. It's not a fast sprint. Something you can absolutely do. Believe in yourself. Have that confidence. Continue going.
My tip to myself would be to have grace with myself. You're doing something new, you're doing something hard. And especially like for me who's working full time, like I'm taking so like regardless, all of us are taking so much time to do this new thing. And it it's going to be frustrating because you're going to say like this is why am I not getting this at some point? And just like think back, there was a time like when you like were learning something new, and that's essentially what you're doing here. You're learning new skills, you're creating new like muscles of ways of thinking in your brain, and just like have grace with yourself and tell yourself like I can do hard things. That is something that my planner every single week I write in it. I can do hard things. It is my motto. And anytime that I'm just feeling like, oh my gosh, this is overwhelming. Why is this not going as well as I thought? I can do hard things. And law school is a very hard thing. So have grace with yourself as you're going through this and check in with yourself. Like there have been times when I can't do it. Like, I know that I need to read, but I can't give myself to that right now. Take a mental health break. This is going to be a chaotic time in your life. If you need to give yourself grace and take time, do it because it's only going to benefit you in the long run. If you can't be like a healthy and like mentally spry and healthy lawyer, then you're not going to be able to be there like 100% for your clients, 100% for your classes, your professors, your fellow students. So know yourself, give yourself grace, and take time for yourself.
If I were to go back and talk to my 1L self, I think I would tell myself that it's okay not to get everything done. Especially as an evening division student, having a family, having kids, like I cannot get all my reading done and have my house be perfectly clean and make sure all the laundry is done and all the things. Like you are one person and you can only do what you can do, and that's okay sometimes. Like sometimes it's going to be a little chaotic, and just it's okay. And like Alex said, give yourself some grace.
Okay, I think that's the end of our time. I want to thank all of you for being here and answering all of these really fantastic questions and being so open with our incoming students about your journey through law school so far. And I want to also thank all of our incoming students. You've asked some really amazing questions. I hope you feel a little less jittery, a little more prepared for next week. You can always reach out to Eric or myself or any member of the admissions team in the lead up to orientation if any last minute questions come up. But with that, I would really like to just thank you for taking the time to come here today and answer the questions. And we look forward to welcoming all of you to orientation on Tuesday and for our returning upper level students. Hopefully I'll get to see you around campus this semester.